Hey gamers, it's Grind This Game here, back with Factorio. I'd like to introduce my my ultra dense or highly dense high density bod factory, whatever I'm gonna call it. Here it is in all its glory. It's similar to what I had last episode, but it's been kind of compressed. Before it was over 2 city blocks. Part of it was over here and part of it was over here. I kind of tightened it up. And what this thing is doing, if we use the tool here, is, let's search for science per second. We're doing roughly 1 science per second. Exactly 1 science per second for these 4 and almost 1. I could trim these a little bit, but overdoing it is fine, because this is not the bottleneck right now. If we do per minute, it's a little bit over, but that's okay. What I realized is that, okay, first of all, the goal of this thing was to try to make a very small footprint of a factory that could do 1 science per second. I think there's a little bit more room left. I could squeeze more out of this factory, but I thought this was a nice round number to go with. You can also see some stats in terms of the power usage, including the roboports. Let's make sure I get them all in here. The whole city block. Okay, so we can look at materials used per second as well. So it's using, let's do per minute instead. 8,000 steel plate per minute, almost 9,300 copper plate per minute. Well, we can also look at the electricity usage. We got a little bit in beacons here. Sorry, and we got 175 million or megawatts in assemblers, and then quite a bit in roboports. Now this, I think, I don't know if this is based on just the residual usage. 226 says 4 megawatts per machine, or whether that's including charging. Let's just see here. Including charging. These things, min consumption 50 kilowatts. So no, that's figuring for max consumption, which these things are not. These things are definitely not running at max consumption. We can look at actual usage under the graphs here. Let's see. Not there. I want the power network. Sorry. I've been off for a few days. I was fighting some kind of stomach bug. Had a weird fever, so I hadn't recorded for a few days. But I'm back. I'm back to full strength here. I want to check. I can't check just those roboports, but I can see globally roboports are using 92 megawatts right now, and there's a bunch on the map. That's for 443 of them. You can see my power capacity. I think last episode I had maxed around 500. Now I have max 1.1 gigawatts. And that's because I built out power in expectation of duplicating this factory. So that one of the main goals of this factory was one, have it really dense, small footprint. Number 2 was easily clonable, right? I should be able to double my science per second capacity in a few seconds here, and I'll show you. Let's just do it. We're gonna copy the whole city block, including the roboports, and we're gonna duplicate this factory right beside it here. Now it lines up nicely because I already have a city block here, so the full 4 roboports in the middle. Oh, there is some stuff in the way here. I'm going to build it over top anyway. We're going to lose some of those red roboports. There's things in the way, but that's okay. Or I think there's some substations in the way. But there they go. Oh man, this is Swarm. Check out that map. So here goes. A lot of roboport activity. Let's check out the power usage during this this little... Oh yeah, look at this. The roboport energy usage just goes off the charts. So it went from 118, actually 90 for the roboports, up to 430 megawatts. Pretty crazy. But that's just during the manufacturing of the factory. And also now, now that it's partially up, it's starting to build everything in the factory, so that's going to require a lot of energy as well. There's some power missing, but they're busy putting it in. And we'll let it just kind of settle down a little bit, and all the roboports charge and get back to their ports and stuff. Now I don't have a roboport section on the left-hand side here, just the 3 corners. The city block is actually the sidewalk is actually here. It's hard to see anything with this many robots going on, so I'm gonna step down here a little bit. So even though I've we got a achievement there, processing units. Now our science, even though we were making 1 per second before, and now we're making 2 per second, or 120 per minute, we're bottlenecked by the amount of space science that we have, or whatever they call this stuff. I think it's space science. Because we're not launching a rocket very often, we only get 1,000 the space science, I think, once every 10 minutes or so. I actually can look at the graphs here and we can get an idea of that. If we look at, let's search for science as well. Okay, over 1 hour. You can see when this goes way up in terms of consumption, it means the rocket just came in. And then when it runs out, it means we've gone through all this space science pack. And it has to wait till the next rocket launch. So the time between here and here, we're getting about 3 launches an hour. So in order to, I mean, we could launch a rocket more frequently, but it would be a waste because we don't have enough other science packs to fill in the blanks, if that makes sense. So we need to increase science per second all the way up to 1,000. 1,000 per rocket launch, essentially, to have this thing running all the time. So now we have, like I said, 60, 120 per minute. The bots are still, well, the bots are unloading lots of material here. I wish there was a way to filter them off. It's just so hard to see otherwise. It's quite the activity. You'll notice there's some trains going on as well. I did add some basic train tracks here. The only train I had before was this one down here. It was a double-headed train, picking up stone, and just driving north, dropping it off and going back. It was pretty basic. I did move the station up a little bit more north. I also got some brick furnaces here. I moved those up from the old base. The old base is pretty much gone now. The only thing that's left of the old base is this little piece here. A little bit of copper, stone, coal, and there was an iron pile here. Yeah, there's still an iron pile of 1.9 million. And I left a little bit of residual furnaces just to like scoop all this up, and we're sending it north here. Sending all the materials north, including some steel from the old steel build, just up to here. And we're putting it in some boxes, some passive provider chests, so that the robots can pick them up. Now, like I said, this thing's pretty power hungry. Let's check our power now that things have settled down a little bit. Power. We're using about 800 megawatts now. Kind of steady state. There was a huge spike to get things going, and then now we've settled down. Overall, at around 800. Pretty good. So we're getting close to peak here. If we tried to build another factory now, we'd run out of power. Now I've done 2 things for power. I came up with a new solar blueprint. This one's an original blueprint. It is kind of ugly. It has a few weird spaces in it. But it's basically a city block worth of solar and accumulators. So if we do the stats on this one, we can see number of solar panels, accumulators. The ratio, I forget exactly what it is, but it's pretty close to the ideal. It's not perfect. And like I said, it's got some holes. I wanted it to fit in the exact city block blueprint with the roboport and this one radar in this weird spot. So it's not symmetrical, but it's doing its job. But if we need more power, this is also about 30 megawatts, I think. Let me just double check that. If we look at power, oh, that was electricity. Total output, no, this is wrong. Net, 19 megawatts. I thought it was more than, I think it's more like 30. Oh, it's removing the max of these roboports, which is wrong. It's more like 30 if you do the math on this. So to copy one of these, it's actually pretty easy. I've made a few of them already. Actually, I've got a blueprint now, so let's put another one down. I'm kind of trying to build them outside of the city, where there's no resources in the way. I think we could safely build one over here. I don't have anything here. Oh, they've got some water here. Gotta fill that in first. Let's not build it there. Let's build it in the south where we're not doing much anymore. Maybe not. Maybe the east. Right here. Right here. There's some... Yeah, we can put one here. So I got the blueprint in here somewhere. Here it is. City block solar. That should fit on there pretty nicely. Just gotta make sure the roboports line up. And the power lines. There are some... Oh, I got some junk in the way here. Let's see. Oh, I got some old substations in the way. Let's take those away first. This doesn't need to go there. Let the robots clear that out first. Here they come. It's quite a ways for them to fly, but here they come. Clean things up for us. Okay, now we can safely build it, I think. Let's do that. We can build these from the map view, which is really nice. Easier to line things up, I think. Right there. So they're going to send an army of robots to build that. Oh, and before they get there... Oops, wrong button. We can see power... Solar right now. Oh, this is inaccurate because it's based on the sunlight, which is full shining right now. Got 215 megawatts right now, so we can check that after to see what it's like. You can see this thing being built. There she goes. It goes up pretty fast. We'll let them finish off that project. Come back in a second. So the next thing to do would be... Oh, yeah, the other thing I did off camera was I duplicated my nuclear factory. Now, it's funny. These do about 30 megawatts per city block. And I could easily fit 2 or 3 of these in a city block, and each one of them does 480 megawatts. So, crazy power density here compared to solar. But I've heard that the UPS performance of solar outweighs these, but because we're on an island and we have limited stone to fill in the ocean, we are kind of limited by how much solar we can do. There's also the cost of components of building this whole thing. Which I haven't really done a comparison between a city block of solar, or should I say, like, 10 of these would be 300 megawatts, still not one nuclear power plant. Maybe, how many would we need? Like, 14 of them or something to satisfy one nuclear power plant. Now, these are expensive components, but especially the nuclear power plant itself is pretty expensive, and you need 4 of them. So, I don't know which is... This is probably more expensive. Maybe. It's hard to tell. I should probably do the calculations on that. Kind of the raw resources. But it's certainly faster to build and to get online. But it is finite in a sense because It does require uranium mining, but we do have a ton of uranium ore, and we can recycle most of the uranium. So back to the factory here. Things are looking good. Now, so these are the two operating factories now. The other component is the factory that builds the factory. Or my kind of mini mall. I guess it's kind of a... It's a medium-sized mall now. That's pretty small. It's making things I need. It's also making things that are needed for building the factory, like robots. Got some bot builders here. And all the subcomponents of bots. We also have electric furnaces, but that's not really required for the factory. Directly. We got a bunch of solar panel makers for solar, which is not really directly for the factory, but indirectly. There's assemblers in here somewhere. Right here. Level 3 assemblers. Now, I am building some stuff outside of the factory that... like batteries here. I don't think I'm doing any... I'm not doing any batteries in the factory, or am I? I lied. I'm doing 5 here. These are for the factory, and the batteries up here are for the solar that I need to power the factory. But the plastic I'm making outside the factory, up here. The sulfur I'm making, the sulfuric acid I'm making out here, and the lubricant. So, even though this is needed for the factory, I'm kind of considering it a raw resource. So if we wanted to add more factories, we would need more of this, more oil production, kind of more everything, more raw resources all over the place. We need more iron, need more copper, more coal, more stone, all that good stuff. Now technically, I don't think to have the factory running at full capacity, we could supply it right now. We can measure that here. Just one factory. In terms of materials, this is the rate calculator. So we need about 8,000 steel plate per minute. And over here, we are making only 4,000. Now, it has no problem keeping up right now because this factory isn't running non-stop because we're not launching a rocket fast enough. Sorry. We're only getting 1,000 space science every 20 minutes or so. So it makes enough science. The science isn't being consumed fast enough for this thing to run non-stop, I guess is what I'm getting at. It's changed slightly now that we have 2, but it's still not enough. I think we'll need about 10 of these to satisfy... actually... kind of depends, it's chicken and egg here. It depends on how often we do the rocket. But let's say we're doing a rocket every... well, I won't try to do the math on camera, but... we basically have to keep up with 1,000 science per rocket launch. It gets chewed through pretty fast, so it just landed, I think. Yeah, one took off while I was chatting away here. I'm already at 18%. Let me check the thing here again, the science. We can see the last rocket was about 6 minutes ago? 5 minutes ago? And now it's going to chew through all the science that was prepared, queued up. And so all these science labs are churning away. Now I don't really need any more science labs because they churn through the science before more is needed. Before it runs out of the space science. Oh yeah, all this stuff down here is stuff that's needed for the rocket. So, rocket control units, speed modules, processing units, and all the subcomponents that go into that. I want to keep this outside of the factory. This is just for the robots. There's our Spidertron. So, the next project would probably... Oh, let's check that solar. How did it go? It's all done. Looks good. It's doing its job. And power production now is... went from, it was at 215 and now we're up to 251. The average is going to be lower because it goes dark a little bit, but during its full sunlight. So yeah, the max went up about 35. I think the average is about 30. So we're good for power for a while. The next thing would be to get more raw resources in, I think. Should we build a train? This train right now is just an out and back. We will want to tap this later. So we could make it into a loop. And try to make it like these ones. Now, I'm new to trains. I'm not even a beginner with trains. This took me a while to figure out. I read some guides, but they didn't really make much sense to me. So I just had to do it on my own. I went with like a 2-track system, so this is the going outbound, and then it can loop around and come back. This is just a test train that comes out here. Doesn't really do anything. It should be, where is it right now? Where's my test train? Oh, it's stuck. It's waiting. It actually shouldn't be waiting here. It's got a signal here. It should be able to go right through here. I think I'm missing a signal here, maybe? I can't remember my copy key Q. I think I need a signal right here. Maybe. To break up these blocks. Yeah, it should be able to go right through. No, it's not going through. Maybe it needs a chain signal. Like I said, I'm still learning these. That one's green, this one's red. I think this needs to be a chain signal here, maybe. So that they don't bump together. Do I have one of those chain signals? I've never used one yet, so let's... this will be an experiment. Chain signal. Can we go over top of it? I think we have to... Did that even work? I think it did. Maybe not. Oh, it did do it. So, oh, now that's green. This one's red. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing with train networks. But the track is clear. I think maybe... Well, anyway, once this one's gone, this guy should be able to get through. There we go. At least to here. Yeah, I think this is all one block, so it was getting stuck. But this train's not doing anything anyway. But as we add trains to this network, we're going to get more and more of these cases where one train's blocking the other. Where should we go next? Some of these I've just belted in, but most of them we're training in now. I kind of left these tracks here. I didn't really finish this off. We could try to tap this down here. Now I only have one unload iron station. Technically we could have more than one. We could have one right here beside this one. It needs room for the other. Maybe I would do it down here. I'm kind of running out of room here. If I want to preserve these original roboports. Could go to the side here and do another track, I guess. Yeah, let's try this. Let's try it. So, I think I'll copy the straight... I should probably just copy this whole thing. Can we just copy this whole thing? And do this? No. Not quite. I think there are ways to do that, but no, not like that. We do it more kind of manually. Put the straight line in first. Got some power lines in the way. I think I want to move that power line. Let's put a track here. I'm gonna move this pole over. Let's make sure they build that pole first before they take this out. I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, there they go. And this has to somehow join straight into here. This is really ugly already. I know there's cleaner ways to do these kind of stackers where they don't get uglier and uglier and uglier like that. I think there's a way to slip them in here somehow. So they all branch off in the same place, but then the angles get weird. Anyway, I know there's templates out there, but I'm not gonna use them. Let's just see if we can get this one working. It's probably easier to build if we're over there instead of just being in map view. I find it easier to build on site. So we'll head over there. It's not that far. I haven't been hit by a train yet, so wait for that to happen. Let's see if we can do this here. I found that getting these to line up nicely is also a challenge. Like it won't even stretch to this now. Or maybe I'm out of rails. No, we got plenty of rails on us. Yeah, getting the angles to work and stuff. I know you can use R to rotate it, but maybe we can only build one section at a time. I kind of want this to go up there, but let's see if we can go here and then up. Yeah, there we go. That wasn't too bad. Now that is really ugly. I kind of wanted to go off here, but then it's not going to work. I'll look up some other builds for this. Okay, so let's do the same thing over here. Kind of line this up here. And then into here. Actually, no, it's going to be heading the wrong way. I need it to go over here. That's going to be even uglier. Maybe I won't attempt this. Well then, maybe we won't do that. Kind of should have done it on the right side because that's the offload. And then have it loop around in this little loop-de-loop here and come back. So really it should be on this side for offloading because it's coming from the south. Well, anyway, I know we can copy this part because that's safe. Pipes in the way. Oh man, we'll have to go move those over. We'll build what we can. Oh, this pipe lines up directly with it. I don't think I'm even using this pipe anymore, so it might not be that big of an issue. Oh, we got lots of stuff in the way. Rubber ports. Yikes. Kinda should have put this in the center. Are we that out of rails? What's going on with the rails here, folks? Not building rails fast enough. But you know what? I'm going to wrap it up here early because I'm losing my voice and I still feel a little bit off. And I kind of just wanted to get the robot factory into this video. The high density factory. I will learn more about rails and try to clean this up and educate myself better before we keep extending it. I'll add a little bit more solar city blocks. And I'll plan out the rail so we can tie into some of these bigger ore patches like this one and this one. Those would be nice to get into the factory. And then we can duplicate it again and go for a third factory maybe right here. So that's the plan. scaling up. I don't know if I'll scale up much more than that because it's just more copy-paste. But we could try to saturate this island and see what we could get out of it. It'd be cool to get the science production aligned up with the rocket launches so that the factory is going non-stop. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that like button, that thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Trying to hit that 80,000 sub mark. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.